The sirens screamed down Maple Ridge Lane on a quiet Saturday afternoon in June. Daniel Reyes froze mid-swing. His rifle pointed safely toward the earthen backstop he built. 2 patrol cars skidded to a stop. Lights flashing across his sunlit backyard range. His hands trembled slightly, though his training kept his breathing steady and controlled. "What is going on here?" he shouted. Confusion mixing with rising alarm in his chest. Officer Martinez stepped out first, hand resting cautiously near his holster. Scanning the yard. "Sir." Reporting shots fired dangerously close to a residential area. Daniel's stomach dropped as he realized exactly who must have made that call. Standing smugly near the property line was Linda Forsyth, president of the Maple Ridge HOA. She wore sunglasses and crossed arms, looking satisfied as the officers approached his property. "I told you people he was dangerous," Linda announced loudly to anyone nearby listening. Daniel clenched his jaw, fighting the urge to defend himself before being asked. He was a decorated Army veteran, honorably discharged after 12 years of faithful service. This range was legal, permitted, codes the county approved. "Officer," Daniel said calmly, walking slowly toward his garage workspace. Linda interrupted quickly, her voice sharp and accusing as she pointed at his equipment. "He shoots every single day, terrorizing this neighborhood with constant gunfire and noise." That was a lie. Fast beneath his calm exterior. He shot twice weekly. Always before noon. Always within legal county noise ordinances. His neighbor stepped outside holding his phone, recording everything happening nearby. "That's not true." Walking closer with concern evident on his face. "I live right next door. And he's never once been reckless or disruptive." Officer Martinez glanced between Linda and Tom, clearly sensing tension beyond a simple complaint. Daniel returned holding a thick folder containing permits, inspection reports, and safety certifications. "Everything here is approved by the County Sheriff's Department and Zoning Commission," he explained firmly. The officer flipped through pages, his expression shifting from suspicion toward genuine surprise. Linda's smile faltered slightly, though she quickly masked it with renewed righteous indignation. "He's still violating HOA bylaws regarding outdoor activities near shared community property lines," she insisted. Daniel's range sat fully within his own backyard, far from any shared boundary. "Ma'am." "Permitted backyard range," Officer Martinez said carefully, reviewing documents. Linda's voice grew louder, almost desperate, as control over the situation slipped away. "You don't understand what it's like living near someone like him," she said coldly. The word "him" carried weight, dripping with something uglier than simple neighborhood complaints. Daniel had noticed it before. The subtle disdain whenever Linda mentioned his family directly. His wife Maria, an immigrant from Guatemala, had felt it too during HOA meetings. Comments about those people and certain types moving into their previously homogeneous community. Tom noticed it too, his jaw tightening as he kept recording the entire exchange. "This is the 4th call this month," Officer Martinez said, flipping through his notepad. "4th?" Daniel repeated, disbelief washing over him like cold water down his spine. He had no idea Linda had called police on him 3 previous times. Each call apparently dismissed quickly once officers verified his range was completely legal. She's been documenting supposed violations for months, Tom added, lowering his phone slightly. Half the neighborhood has seen her notes posted on the community Facebook page. Daniel's mind raced backward, remembering harassment notices stuffed mysteriously into his mailbox weekly. Notices claiming fence height violations, lawn care infractions, and now dangerous weapon discharge. Each notice carried Linda's signature, official HOA letterhead, and threatening fines or legal action. He had paid every unjustified fine, hoping to avoid unnecessary conflict with his neighbors. But this, blazing, felt different. More personal. Officer. Her first false report, Tom said firmly. Officer Martinez nodded slowly, jotting notes while glancing skeptically toward Linda's increasingly defensive posture. Ma'am. False police reports carry serious legal consequences. Linda's confidence cracked visibly, her composed mask slipping into something closer to panic. I was just trying to protect this community, she stammered, backing toward her driveway. Daniel watched her retreat, anger and exhaustion battling for dominance within his tired heart. He had served his country honorably, only to face harassment in his own home. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly as officers continued questioning everyone present at scene. Something inside Daniel shifted then, a quiet determination replacing his earlier shocked confusion. He would not simply absorb another false accusation without finally fighting back properly. This time, Linda Forsythe would face real consequences for her actions. That evening, table. Papers spread across the worn surface. Maria placed a cup of coffee beside him, her expression heavy with worry. How many times has she done this to us? Maria asked quietly. Sitting down, Daniel exhaled slowly, running fingers through his hair, exhaustion evident in his posture. Officer Martinez said at least 4 calls. But Tom thinks there were more. Their daughter Sophia, only 8 years old, peeked nervously around the kitchen doorway. Daddy? Asked, her small voice trembling with uncertainty. Daniel forced a reassuring smile, though his heart ached at her obvious fear. No. We're not in trouble. But I am going to fix this. He spent the next 3 days gathering evidence, documents. He requested public records from the county sheriff's office detailing every previous complaint filed. The records revealed something staggering. 17 separate calls placed by Linda Forsythe alone. 17 calls over 8 months. Each one investigated and dismissed as completely unfounded. Daniel's hands shook as he read through pages detailing wasted police resources and time. Officers had spent countless hours responding to Linda's baseless, repetitive accusations. He discovered something else too. A pattern emerging across multiple neighborhood families targeted similarly. The Patels had been accused of suspicious gatherings repeatedly. The Johnsons faced complaints about excessive noise during normal evening hours. Every targeted family shared something in common. They were recent additions to the neighborhood. Recent additions who didn't match the demographic Linda apparently preferred for her community. Daniel felt sick reading message boards where Linda openly discussed maintaining neighborhood character online. The phrase made his stomach turn. Recognizing thinly veiled prejudice disguised as community concern, he reached out to Tom Whitfield, asking him to gather other affected families together. Within 2 days, 6 families agreed to meet at Daniel's house that weekend. The kitchen filled with worried faces, each person sharing similar stories of harassment. Mrs. terrified that one false report might separate her family. Mr. HOA fines totaling thousands of dollars over minor infractions. Daniel listened carefully, anger transforming into focused, determined resolve within his chest. "We need to file a formal complaint with the county and document everything," he said. Tom nodded eagerly, already pulling out his laptop to begin organizing their collected evidence. "I also think we should contact a civil rights attorney," Maria suggested softly. Surprising everyone, Daniel looked at his wife, pride swelling despite the exhausting circumstances surrounding them all. They spent the following week compiling testimonies, police records, and HOA correspondence systematically. A local attorney named Rebecca Stone agreed to review their case pro bono initially. She specialized in housing discrimination and had successfully challenged corrupt HOA boards previously. "This looks like a clear pattern of harassment based on discriminatory motives," Rebecca explained. "Filing false police reports repeatedly is also a criminal offense in this state." Daniel felt hope flickering for the first time since the sirens had arrived. Meanwhile, storm quietly gathering against her unchecked behavior. She continued posting inflammatory messages, accusing certain residents of ruining community property values online. She even called an emergency HOA meeting, demanding stricter screening processes for new homeowners. Daniel attended that meeting, sitting quietly while Linda outlined her discriminatory proposed policies. "We need standards," Linda declared confidently, unaware of the recording device in Tom's pocket. "Some people simply don't understand how to properly maintain a respectable neighborhood community." Several residents nodded along, while others exchanged knowing, frustrated glances. After the meeting, her expression sharp with professional excitement. "That recording gives us exactly what we need," she said. They scheduled a meeting with the county prosecutor's office for the following Tuesday morning. Daniel barely slept that night, anxiety and anticipation warring within his exhausted mind. He thought about his years overseas, defending freedoms that Linda seemed determined to undermine. He thought about Sophia's frightened face, asking if her family was somehow in trouble. He thought about every immigrant family terrorized simply for existing within their own neighborhood. Tomorrow, justice would finally begin catching up with Linda Forsythe's cruelty. The morning sun rose bright and clear, almost symbolic of the coming reckoning ahead. Daniel dressed carefully, putting on the same suit he wore during his military discharge. Maria squeezed his hand tightly as they walked toward Rebecca's car together, determined. "Whatever happens today," Maria whispered, "we did this together, as a family." Daniel nodded, powerfully within his steady, beating heart. The county prosecutor's office buzzed with quiet activity as Daniel and Rebecca walked inside. Prosecutor James Kim reviewed their evidence folder, his expression growing increasingly serious with each page. 17 false reports, documented harassment patterns, and a recorded admission of discriminatory intent, he summarized. This is more than enough to pursue criminal charges for filing false police reports. Daniel felt something loosen in his chest. Relief mixing cautiously with lingering disbelief and hope. We're also seeing strong grounds for a civil discrimination lawsuit against the entire HOA board, Rebecca added. 2 weeks later, summons delivered directly to her front door. She stood frozen on her porch, reading words she never imagined would apply to her. News spread quickly through Maple Ridge Lane. Neighbors whispering about Linda's sudden legal troubles. The local news station picked up the story, interviewing affected families about years of HOA harassment. Daniel sat before cameras, calmly explaining his military service and his family's repeated victimization since arriving. I defended this country's freedoms overseas, only to have them threatened in my own backyard, he said. The interview went viral within days, sparking outrage across social media platforms nationwide. Other HOA communities began investigating their own boards, inspired by Daniel's courageous public stand. Linda's once loyal supporters distanced themselves quickly, fearing association with her unfolding public scandal. Her real estate business, built on community connections, began losing clients rapidly amid the controversy. 3 months later, the criminal case against Linda Forsyth reached the county courthouse steps. Daniel sat beside Maria and Sophia, watching as the judge reviewed mounting evidence carefully. Witness after witness testified about Linda's pattern of harassment, false reports, and discriminatory behavior. Officer Martinez confirmed 17 documented calls, each one investigated and proven completely unfounded. Tom Whitfield played his recording, Linda's own words condemning herself before the entire courtroom. Linda's attorney attempted weak defenses, but evidence overwhelmed every argument presented in her favor. The judge's verdict arrived swiftly, finding Linda guilty of multiple counts of filing false reports. Your actions wasted critical police resources and terrorized innocent families based on prejudice, the judge stated firmly. Linda was sentenced to community service, mandatory diversity training, and significant financial restitution payments. She was also permanently removed from the HOA board, stripped of any community leadership position. Daniel watched her face crumble. The same smugness from that fateful Saturday completely gone now. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered around Daniel, eager for his reaction to the verdict. This isn't about revenge, he said, his voice steady despite months of accumulated exhaustion. This is about protecting families who simply wanted to live peacefully in their own homes. The civil lawsuit settled shortly after, awarding affected families significant compensation for damages suffered. The HOA board was completely restructured, with new leadership committed to fair, transparent policies. Mrs. Finally feeling safe within the community she called home. The Johnsons celebrated quietly, grateful that justice had finally arrived after months of fear. Daniel's backyard range remained exactly where it always was, legal and properly maintained. He continued shooting twice weekly, finally able to enjoy his hobby without harassment or fear. Sophia asked him one evening why the police never came back anymore. Because sometimes, Daniel explained gently, good people have to stand up against unfairness together. Linda Forsythe eventually moved away, unable to escape the reputation following her throughout the county. Her real estate license was suspended pending review, ending the career she once valued. Neighbors who once feared speaking up now actively participated in community meetings without hesitation. The new HOA board implemented policies protecting residents from harassment and discriminatory targeting permanently. Daniel often thought about that Saturday afternoon. Sirens blaring across his peaceful backyard suddenly. What began as devastating injustice transformed into a powerful testament of resilience and courage. He realized that fighting back wasn't just about defending himself against false accusations alone. It was about protecting every family who deserved to live without fear or prejudice. Maria often reminded him how proud she felt watching him stand firm against injustice. Sophia grew up understanding that courage meant standing up for what was truly right. The Maple Ridge community healed slowly, rebuilding trust between neighbors previously divided by fear. Daniel's story became a reminder that abuse of power eventually meets its deserved consequences. Justice ultimately found its way to those who patiently sought it. And in that quiet, peace finally settled over every family who called it home.